Hello, my name is Slavek, and I would like to share with you this time a little bit about how to maintain very strong look, very strong posture while I dance American Smooth. So I believe in this particular style it's extremely important for male dancers to look very strong because there's so much more energy, so much more weight involved, and if we don't have enough awareness how to counterweight our lady and also looking good as I do that, I will obviously won't look strong and attractive on the dance floor. So I believe everything what we do needs to be always created from the floor. I always say that we have three friends in a ballroom dancing. Number one is the floor, number two is the music, number three is our partner. So everything what we start always needs to come from the floor because that's where our posture is going to be built, our blocks of weight, and how we're going to create the energy to connect with our partner. So let's quickly talk what do we do to and how to use the foot pressure to build our posture. So I'm sure all of you at some point try to do a push-ups, okay? So basically this is what we're going to do through our legs. So don't try to, when you hear foot pressure, don't try to think that your feet has to work super hard, they need to get tense, because that will immediately actually push you away from the floor. Now the idea of using foot pressure, it should actually connect you more with the floor, but at the same time help you to build a very nice long spine and a beautiful energy through the body. So what I need you to think about that your feet are just using, we use our feet sort of like a platform, and we're going to use all the major muscles of our body, so glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, so the legs and hips muscles, to basically push down into the foot, into the floor, right? Now, the more energy we're going to apply towards the floor, the more energy is going to bounce back to us, and the more we're going to push down, the taller we become, okay? Yet I still feel like my foot is sort of growing like a root into the floor, so that makes me very strong and stable. Okay, so that is sort of first thing. So I call it we build vertical strength. Okay, now second thing from that activity, what I like to build is horizontal connection with my partner. Right. So now, often what we do, we just focus too much on either creating push or pull, positive, negative connection. You can call it whatever you want, but it's horizontal connection with your partner. Now, if we forget about the vertical connection to the floor, it makes us very easy, very weak. Okay, so therefore I want to use that connection to the floor to then think like my body is basically sort of dividing itself into two different directions, where my rib cage is going to dance forward, right? So I like to think my rib cage as my body weight, so that will project itself forward, but at the same time, as I'm using the foot pressure, I'm going to use my spine and the head weight as a unit to work back against that. Okay? So basically, the more direction you're going to apply to the forward through the rib cage, the more your spine and head weight is going to go back. As a result, you should feel this, I call it internal resistance. Okay? So that will help you then to be very, very stable, but very, let's say, positively connected to your partner. On top of that, because what we did so far, we develop our body down and up. We already talked about how to move forward and backward. Now we need to think what happens sideways, right? So the same, as I use my foot pressure, now I'm going to think my lat muscles, right? So the very wide parts of my back, those muscles are going to feel like they're going to separate themselves outwards, okay? Now, if you're going to pick up frame later, those muscles will help you to separate your elbows. And that's why you're going to create a very strong, wide look through your frame, okay? It's not going to happen just because we try to extend our arms outward, because that will create too much tension through the upper shoulders, and immediately will make us look like our neck become very short. So everything what we do comes from underneath. So you might imagine your lat muscles are connected to your bottom of your arms, your triceps, right? And those muscles are going to help you to reach your frame outwards because of your back, okay? So ultimately, we're thinking to basically cover all three dimensions, down and up, left and right, forward and backward, okay? The forward and backward is probably the most difficult, but that's what I believe will make you very, very successful, especially that, again, we have a lot of actions in a smooth where we are having a pull connection without very strong spine. For me, it's impossible because, again, immediately we will feel that there's too much energy through the arms and we look tense and short, okay? So I will suggest to do this exercise as often as you can. So you can sit on your hip and you push down in your thing to grow up, to separate out, but also think forward and backward, right? So again, forward through the rib cage, backward through the spine and head weight, okay? You can do it on one foot a few times. You can do the same on the other foot. And just so you know, I believe that will be also very useful for your Latino rhythm. So now, once you learn how to stay very strongly on the floor, how to build your frame, then you can think what to do later when you're dancing. Now what's important that whatever we just did in a static position has to be applied in a actually movement, and that's, I believe, the most difficult. So what you can do the same through the movement. You can actually start having your weight split, and you can think the same. You can first apply foot pressure down, but now as you do that, you're going to feel like your body is actually moving forward and your body is moving backwards. You see, what I'm trying to apply is the feeling that I don't want to feel like my upper body leaning forward or backward. I want to maintain the same nice movement through my body, yet using still foot pressure to actually move horizontally in this case. See that? So now in order to move forward, I'll feel my foot is pushing back. If I want to move back, my standing foot will push forward, right? If you want to move sideways, obviously you move in opposite direction, right? So that will apply as a second type of foot pressure to actually move. So first we did just the vertically to build nice vertical strength. Now moving horizontally, it will actually help us to move, still maintaining the beautiful look and tone to the body. And the third type of foot pressure I'd like to think about is rotary, right? So now, in order to create rotations and later beautiful shapes, I still like to feel that my foot actually is applying this rotary activities like a toy for kids top spin, apply foot pressure rotary down, and the same energy like a DNA spiral comes back to me, and that helped me to create beautiful extension through the body, right? So ultimately, anything what you do, you constantly need to apply foot pressure to every single step, right? And based on the activity in your body, you're going to create different types. So always down to go up to fight against gravity, right? Every time when you're about to move, your foot is going to push in the opposite direction to the movement you're actually going to create. And if you're going to create rotary action, you're also going to feel, I like to call, my foot is going to turn inside my shoe, right? So that will create those beautiful rotations, okay? And that, without losing what we talked about earlier, the beautiful extension through the spine, constant projection of the rib cage forward, and constant extension through your lats backward will help you to create those beautiful circles, those nice extensions through the body, okay? So I hope that's what you can continue practicing to look very muscular, very strong, and very spacious on the floor. Thank you very much.